Companies caught keeping billions of dollars owed to families with loved ones who have died. Georgia families have now recovered nearly $200 million after settlements with many of those companies. But a Channel 2 Action News investigation found it could be much, much more. Channel 2's investigative reporter Jody Fleischer is here with what other states are doing to get more of that money back to rightful owners. Jody.
Jovita, the problem here is the people who fall victim to this don't even know they're victims. If they knew about the life insurance money, they'd go claim it. Georgia has taken steps to recover some of the money for its citizens, but the state leaves it up to insurers to do the right thing. And if they can't find you, Georgia holds on to it instead of tracking you down to give you your money.
Like I said, it's like winning the lottery.
But Donna Del Zingaro and Barbara Smith didn't even buy the ticket. Their father did, long before he died in 1990, a life insurance policy through his company.
We had 3 or 4 personal policies that we had collected on. We thought it was done.
But then a surprise phone call from the state of Florida.
And she said, I have found an insurance policy from your father for $122,000. And so I'm thinking, okay, this is a scam.
But the real scam was that the insurance company had been holding on to the sisters' money for more than 20 years without trying to find them. An industry-wide audit found systemic problems with companies failing to pay beneficiaries who didn't know to file a claim.
It's very disheartening because people would not even think to look for this.
The consumer group Georgia Watch calls the insurance company's behavior outrageous.
You ought to be able to have some sense of trust in any company with which you do business. And so
Florida led the investigation and ultimately settled with 24 life insurance companies. Now they're required to check all of their policies against a federal list of people who've died and to try to find their beneficiaries. If they can't, the policy is turned over to the states.
but I think having it go to the unclaimed property account does only one thing, which is to take away some of the incentive the insurance company has to not find the beneficiary.
More than 9,500 Georgians have now recovered nearly $200 million, but that's directly from the insurance companies. Georgia doesn't track how much is now sitting in state coffers unclaimed.
What good is it if you're not going to tell people that it's there?
Florida does. Workers actually find and contact beneficiaries. But in Georgia, the money just sits there with your name on it, unless you happen to check the state website and claim it yourself.
I would hope that the state legislators here in Georgia would take a look at that and see if there's some strength and some teeth they can add to what we have here in Georgia.
We asked Georgia's insurance commissioner why the state hasn't done as much as Florida has.
We didn't launch our own individual investigation.
How come?
I don't know. You know, nobody approached me with this because I certainly would have agreed to do it.
Plus, Georgia's new law, which covers companies that refuse to settle, only requires them to turn over unclaimed policies written after January 1st, 2015. Florida's law goes back to 1992.
We certainly would advocate to the legislature that they make modifications.
The sisters wish all states would consider how important that money can be for families.
It came at a really opportune time for all 3 of us. It was just like money from my parents like they knew.
They commend Florida for going above and beyond to find them.
I think any state needs to be doing the same thing. It's not the state's money. It belongs to rightful heirs.
The insurance companies that settled have paid Georgia nearly $4 million in fines for their bad behavior. Now, that's just a fraction of the national amount. And listen to this. Since the settlements, those companies have had to pay out more than $6 billion to families for previously unclaimed policies.
And that is certainly a staggering amount of money. So if Georgia isn't tracking us down, then what can we do to make sure that we aren't owed money? There's not something sitting out there waiting for us.
Well, experts recommend talking to your family members about this ahead of time. That's the obvious thing to do. Also, you should regularly search the state's unclaimed property websites for everywhere you've ever lived. And they say you should look for your name, your relatives' names, company names, anything those policies could be listed under.
See what comes up.
Absolutely.
Jody, thank you.
Thanks.